Tonight on the Roadhouse, this is another episode of alcohol and gas, except for I'm actually going to try something to see if it works for this Holley system on my car. It's a Holley Terminator X Max system, which is supposed to run the transmission, car, and everything. It's like its own little ECU on a LS motor in a 1967 Impala. Now, I have a lot of videos, probably 30 plus videos on this car to this point, and I've had issues with getting it started, and it'll sit there and go rrr, 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 but it will not start. And I've checked and it does not have spark. Well, according to a lot of Holley forums and stuff, they say that the Holley system does not like anything except for AC Delco. Now, I bought the camshaft sensor and the crank sensor, both in AC Delco. We're going to put them on tonight, and we're going to see if it actually works. Now, I'm not going to actually film this, me putting them actually in the car, because tonight is a alcohol and gas episode, which if you've watched my other videos, I've done a alcohol and gas video where I started with 4 fingers on a 2015 Jeep JKU 1-ton axle LS swap. Then I went from there to a 68 and 69 Chevelle episode of alcohol and gas, which I was probably down to about 2 fingers at that point. Then I went to a 79 Ford F250 3/4 ton, what else? 4x4 custom Explorer package, and I did a video on it as well. So then I ran out. So now I'm working on 5 and 6 as far as fingers go. So we're going to see how this goes tonight. I'm going to see if these AC Delco parts actually work like they're supposed to. If they don't work, then I am done trying, and I'm going to take this to a 417 Motorsports in, I think it's Stratford, Missouri. They used to be in Springfield, but I think they moved to another location. And I'm going to have them to go ahead and take care of it. Why? Because I'm tired of this car not running. It'll sit there and go rrr, 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 but it does not start. It does not have fuel. I'm sorry. It does not have spark. In in these videos where I do alcohol and gas videos, I don't do a lot of editing, so we'll have to, so you can see all the stupid parts. I don't know, stupid to me, but hey, it's fun. And you get to see where I'm at on some of the vehicles I haven't done videos for a while. This car, if you haven't been watching the other episodes, it's got Willwood brakes, front and rear. It's got, it's a 67 Impala 4-door sport coupe. So a lot of you are thinking, oh, is he going to do a supernatural car out of it? No, I'm not doing a supernatural car. My grandma actually had a car exactly like this, even with the 327 motor in it. The reason why they got rid of it after so many years is because it didn't have AC. This car is actually an AC car, but you know, it's not going to have AC for a while. But as far as everything else goes, I am really excited to put a motor in it. I'm excited to put an LS motor in it to where it's probably pretty close to the same cubic inches as my grandma's car. So this car is special to me, and it'll never leave my garage, shop, or whatever. But you know, there's about 30 some videos on this car if you want to take a look at them, and it shows the whole LS process on a Impala. I think you can get the same type stuff from 60, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not sure, but it's mid 60s all the way up to 70 as far as LS. So you can get the same information from me as you can from anywhere else as far as those years. But we're going to put these AC Delco parts on and see if it does anything. And I think I've had AC Delco parts on this in the past, and the computer says that they weren't any good and I replaced them. So we're going to see what happens. I don't have my hopes up for this. probably end up putting my car on a trailer and taking it to where it gets started, because I love this car to death and I hate to see it just sit here in my shop and me flabbergasted as what the heck is wrong with it. There's nobody that does these LS Holley type swaps around me right now, and I can't get their inside information, and we're going to see where we're going to go with this. Let's get this thing started. Roadhouse is sponsored by Finley River Towing and Speedy's Industrial Coatings in Ozark, Missouri. Speedy's does all your media blasting and powder coating. Big or small, they do it all. Finley River Towing takes care of all your high-end to low-end towing needs. Call Finley River Towing if you're in the Ozark or Branson area. Tell them the Roadhouse sent you. Okay, I wanted to come back and reiterate really quick that just because this car isn't a supernatural replica that I'm building does not mean that supernatural has not helped the 67 Impala. I just got the crank sensor in. I just got the cam sensor in. What did I get? All right, I just got the cam sensor in. A 2-minute project took maybe 4 minutes, and it went in really smooth. This AC Delco part went in really smooth. Some of the parts that I've bought before, which may have not been AC Delco, when it went in, it had to be like kind of bolted down into place before it moved down to where it was supposed to be locked down. Whereas this AC Delco part went in really quick. I'm going to try to start the car with just this part in it when I get it hooked back up to the electricals, and just to see if that was the one thing that fixed the whole situation. Other parts that I fixed, every camshaft sensor I put in before, it was really hard to get in. It needed to be like bolted down into place. This one went in like it was supposed to be there, maybe. We'll see how it works. But I just want to reiterate about the supernatural stuff. Supernatural has made so much impact on these cars. Even the 67 two-doors, you can now find a lot of parts that you normally wouldn't have found on the internet or anywhere, because Supernatural is so popular. Now these parts are replicated and they are out there on the market, whereas if Supernatural had not been a thing, no parts would have been made for this 4-door car. And I really want to say thank you to Rick Blevins, because he put out a list of stuff that made the normal person be able to build a replica Supernatural car. Now, I am saying that I am building my grandma's car, but I'm hot rodding it, which the Supernatural car was a beautiful car, and I am using a lot of what Rick Blevins said. He has a YouTube page, by the way. I want to send out a special thank you from the Roadhouse to Rick Blevins for being able to build this car, my grandma's car, but hot rodded. Thank you very much for that. Let's get this camshaft sensor finished, see if the car starts. If it doesn't, I'll go to the crank sensor, and if that doesn't work, I'm taking it to get worked on because I love this car and I want it to run. Okay, well, it didn't start. So now I'm going to do the crank sensor and with the AC Delco part and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then I know I got to clean a lot of stuff out in front of my car in order to get it out of my shop in order to take it to get worked on. So here's another round. I need to get this thing done. Now, in order to get to the crank position sensor, you're going to have to get underneath the car. It's behind the starter. You're going to put jack stands on it, even though you may not be exactly sober. And you're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery and take the starter out, then replace the sensor. I should go ahead and mention that you really do not want to not disconnect the battery when you're messing with disconnecting the starter. It will light you up. You do not want to do that. Okay, what normally would have taken me 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Normal person, 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Took me probably about 20 minutes. Gosh. All right, let's see if this thing starts. Battery is hooked back up. I might have to go through the reprogramming series on this, which I despise about the Holley Terminator. Let's see what happens. Okay, it did not start, but it did say that the battery levels were too low. So on these Holley systems, they have to have like a 12.5 voltage in order to start. So I'm going to put the battery charger on it. And what you need to remember when you're putting a Holley Terminator system on your vehicle, you do not try to start it with the battery charger connected to it. So I'm going to charge it and then I'm going to disconnect it and then try to start it. Even with alcohol. Follow the rules. So while we're waiting for this thing to charge, the next steps for this car are make sure it's running, and then a lot of the little things like plumb the brake lines, make sure all of the lights, headlights, and everything have brand new connectors. The Dakota digital gauges on the inside, get them working. There is a lot of little stuff left on this car that I need to get done before I can drive it to work. Let alone the Hot Rod Power Tour or the Roadhouse Run. So there's a lot of little stuff on this, and I got a good friends, Joe Simmons and Chris, and both of them are Roadhouse fans. Both of them are Hot Rod Power Tour fans, and Chris has completed the Hot Rod Power Tour multiple times in different cars, and that boy is ready. So I need to have this thing ready. I want to be able to drive it for maybe 6 months before I put it out on that road, before I put it out on that Hot Rod Power Tour trip, because you got to think that I'm probably going to put at least 2,500 miles on the vehicle before I get back home. So I need to make sure that it can complete that. So you got to talk about brakes, brake lines, everything brand new. Everything's run underneath the car as far as brand new brake lines and everything. They just need to be connected up to the master cylinder and to the brakes themselves. So we got that needs to be done. We have lights, all brand new connectors to every single one of the lights. I don't think I'm going to put any LED lights in anywhere. I think that the factory headlights will work fine for this. I bought the newest option as far as the Sylvania type headlights, so they're really bright. I put them on my 1979 Ford truck outside, and the newest style, the Sylvania bulb type, and it is really, really, really bright. So I don't think I'm going to need anything more for this. LED, nah, not for this car. Now for some of the other cars that I'm planning on building, and I am building, yes, maybe, but not on this car right here. Plan is if it doesn't get started tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and take it to 417 Motorsports in Stratford, Missouri, for them to go ahead and fix whatever the issue is. And what I have now, worst case scenario, is the reluctor wheel on the back, in the oil pan, in the back of the oil pan, isn't reading and may not be measured correctly. So that may need to be moved around a little bit, measured correctly. That's worst case scenario, which means the motor needs to pop up and all that stuff needs to be, the oil pan needs to come down, and that needs to be measured and fixed. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is it is something that has been overlooked on the motor. Now this is the Terminator X Max from Holley, and it other than that, it's worked really well. It needed the Holley oil pan. There's a lot of videos on this car on my site, at least 30 videos, I would assume. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to this car, but there's a lot of stuff that's already been done to this car. As far as plans for it in the future, I plan on checking the rear end. The rear end right now has 307 gears, I think, in it. It's a 12-bolt non-posi. And I'm going to see how well it does once it's running. It seems to be pretty decent highway gears. This car is built for like the Hot Rod Power Tour and the Roadhouse Run, where we're running Route 66. So there's a lot of highway miles that are going to be put on this car. This car is probably going to be maxing out at about 425 horsepower. So I'm not really going for the big horsepower on this car. The rear end is original to the car, so I'm kind of sketchy there on it. It's got good gear oil in it. I put Mobil 1 in it, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I may end up putting a 350 something gear in it. I don't know. That'd probably be the maximum that would go on this car, being that I want to use it for long distances, and it's got a pretty decent motor as far as highway miles per gallon and all that type of stuff. So I really don't want to go too crazy on this car right here. the future plans for this car are get it running, brakes, all that stuff, turn signals, all that type of stuff. Then I want to have the interior painted, door jambs painted in the color that I'm going to go with, which is a maroon. It's I think it's a Dodge color, but I may be mistaken. And then after the door jambs and all that are painted, the new carpet goes in, which I already have. The new door panels go in, which I already have. Window felt and all the rubbers and all that type of stuff, all that goes in. I'm really not concerned with a radio or any of that type of stuff at this point. If you've ever had a hot rod car, the radio is probably one of the last things that you worry about, because you always want to hear how your car's running. So until I get this thing running where I really am trustworthy of it, I'm really not concerned with the radio whatsoever at all. If you haven't watched a lot of the videos on this car, I have redone the wheels, I've redone all the suspension. All the suspension is pretty much like the Supernatural car. The front end, I have Global West upper control arms, and once the car gets running, I'm going to switch the lowers to Global West as well. Rear end, I'm probably going with Global West. I'm probably the whole entire car is probably going to end up with Global West suspension on it. I really like their product. It went on easy. It's really well made. Love to be sponsored by them, but I'm not. This car, it's going to be a beaut if you like four-door cars, and if you like Supernatural cars that are not painted black. Thank you for watching, liking. I'm going to put another plan on getting it started, but if I do, I'll put out another video. Thank you for watching, liking. Put down in the comments what you think I ought to be doing with this car. What have you done to yours? Do you have one? Let me know down in the comments. Put a link to your videos. I'd love to see your videos on the car. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you ride her hard, don't put her away wet. Okay, this is the next day, sober. Battery's charged. Let's see where this thing goes. Almost guaranteeing that this is something really simple like a ground or something. Okay, I had misspoken last night when I told you where this was going to go. I told you it was going to go to 41 Motorsports. No, it's not. It's going to Show Me Speed. I've dealt with them quite a bit, and I'm not sure why I said 417 Motorsports. Everything's ready to go.